All right, final thoughts here for our 58th episode. I can't believe it's been 58 episodes. Before we know it, we're going to be in the 300s, man.
Yeah.
I really feel like that. It's going places. I want to thank everybody, first of all, for tuning into us weekly and just hearing us talk racing, man.
Yeah, we thank you for tuning in to us. I mean, you know, we might not be the smartest people out there, but we try to connect.
But we know racing.
Yeah, we know racing,
That's
so we
right.
kind of we can connect on other fans' levels, you know.
That's right.
So
okay, so we had to do this a little unorthodoxly, just right after our last segment, our movie review segment, because we realized that the Fantasy League in the Marbles 2.0 has not updated yet with the actual score, so we can't pull them up on YouTube here, but we did the math. We got the top five who were still in it, and we calculated it up, and here's what we came up with. The winner of this weekend was SMR R&D, which is Maples.
Yep.
He scored 186 points and now is up to 5,750 points going into Martinsville. Wow. 2 races to go. Beamer on a Beamer was finished third, actually, and scored 170 points, which puts him at 5,707 points. It's going to come down right to Phoenix, I feel, with those two. I can't wait to see who wins that $100 Amazon gift card. I finished second overall, I apologize, but still fourth in the standings with 5,323. S-Blades finished fourth today, but still maintains that third place position with 5,353 points. You finished dead last, 151 points scored today, 5,237. You got to do well at Martinsville in order to be mathematically in there, or else you have to hit everything perfect and everybody's just got a wreck.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, well, hey, man.
Strange things happen.
Stranger things have happened, and we're going to Martinsville where strange things do happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be Halloween weekend.
That's true.
It's just going to be crazy there at Martinsville. It's going to be a lot of fun there at Martinsville. I can't wait. And now we get to, by far, one of my most favorite parts of the show, Driver of the Week. And our Driver of the Week this week here is in the Marbles. I'm sure you haven't heard of them. I'm sure maybe a handful of fans out there in the Marbles Nation, our Marbleheads, have heard of this driver. His name is Billy Wade.
Nope, never heard of him.
You've never heard of Billy Wade? Well, here's what I did. Instead of going for the big names, I just kind of clicked on a Richard Petty Championship. I believe it was in the early 60s, and said, I've never heard of this guy. Let me tell you about Billy Wade. Billy Wade, born February 28th, 1930. That's the day I was born. Not the year, obviously.
Good.
I picked Billy Wade because he was born on February 28th in Houston, Texas, which is crazy because I was born February 28th, and my mom was born in Houston, Texas. So that's pretty crazy how that worked
really
out.
Crazy.
So, but unfortunately, he died on January 5th, 1965 at the age of 34, which is crazy because I'm 34. Hopefully that doesn't come up. Oh, gosh.
Ooh.
Hopefully that doesn't happen here soon. I hopefully have a good 50 years left.
I hope 60 years.
60 years. Good point. But he died in a motor vehicle or a racing incident at Daytona going into turn. He was doing a tire test.
Oh.
And wrecked in the west turn. It just said west turn, which if I had to do my little calculations here real quick, it would be turn 1 and 2.
I think it does sound right.
I think that's turn 1 and 2 there. Blew a tire. Something happened. Got in an accident. Was killed in that accident at Daytona International Speedway. But he seems like one of those guys who could have rewritten the history books here, ladies and gentlemen. He was a 1963 NASCAR Rookie of the Year. Ran 70 races over the course of 3 years with the best points finish of 4th a year prior in 1964. His first race was in 1962 Daytona 500. His last race was in 1964 Jace 300 at Augusta Speedway. His first win came at the 1954 Fireball Roberts 200 at Old Bridge Stadium, and his last win in 1964 at Watkins Glen in the Glen 151.8. Had 4 wins, 41 top 10s, and 5 poles. Billy Wade is your driver of the week this week here at In the Marbles. I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool.
Billy Wade, man. And I think, and I say this about a lot of drivers. I say this about Alan Quickie and Davey Allison. A lot of drivers would have rewritten the history books. I believe Billy might have rewritten some of the history books if he had not had that accident at Daytona during the testing.
Yeah.
Really do. Sounds like it. But for this week in NASCAR, this is a good one.
Okay.
This is a good one. I'm excited about it, and I hope everybody else is too, because, again, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. October 31st, 1965, we're going back to. In the entire 73-year history of NASCAR, the Premier Series, which is a Cup Series, has raced on Halloween just 5 times. The first coming in 1965 when North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham hosted the America 500. The race was historically significant for several reasons. First, it was the inaugural race at Rockingham, which would go on to host 78 premier races before becoming a casualty of the NASCAR's expansion into bigger markets in 2005. Some 35,000 fans showed up for the first race, a huge crowd given the track's relative isolation in rural North Carolina. So it being out in the middle of nowhere, 35,000 people came out there, check it out. That was significant. Another significant factor was that the winner was Hall of Famer Curtis Turner, who was driving the number 41 Ford Galaxy, fielded by the fellow Hall of Famer farmers Glenn and Leonard Wood of the Wood Brothers. Turner had been banned for life by NASCAR founder and chairman Bill France in 1961 for attempting to unionize the drivers. In 1965, France lifted the ban, allowing Turner to return to competition. And that was your This Week in History, October 31st, 1965. What an awesome piece of history, man.
There's a lot of history in there. Wow. Winning for the Wood Brothers. You get to come back after being banned from the sport.
Yeah, and I remember hearing about that. They wanted to start a union. It was really, I think, at the Talladega race. Where they said, no, we need to unionize this. This is unsafe. We need to protect ourselves. And Big Bill France wasn't having that. And he said, nope, you're gone. And allowed him to come back.
So much history at Rockingham. Yeah, God, I miss Rockingham.
And if only that track could come back, I think that would sell out every year.
Rockingham would sell out, absolutely.
Oh, it would sell out. I'd have to be on the next waiting list for next decade for tickets there, I'm sure, if I didn't jump on that right away. But, man, that was history. That was a great history. And, you know, before we wrap up our show here, in our final thoughts segment, I like this time because it is kind of a free form time. You can kind of just sit here and talk about your thoughts coming up here. We have 2 races to go in the NASCAR Cup Series. In fact, in all 3, in NASCAR in general, technically 6 races.
Yeah, if you want to get technical.
Technically 6 races, but 2 races apiece for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup. It's coming down to the wire. And Preston, this year has been crazy. And I think I'll cover this when we finish up our year in review show after Phoenix here in the next few weeks. And NASCAR has done an amazing job being on schedule and saying, and yeah, they had to switch some events around. They had to switch 1 or 2 events around in order to make this, at least in the Cup Series, make all 36 races happen. And they did, and even with the final playoff races, get them all on date, on schedule. And, man, that's an accomplishment to NASCAR, and they deserve to be recognized by all sports because NHL didn't have a full season. Baseball didn't have a full season. Basketball didn't have a full season. A lot of fans of those sports say they're asterisks next to the Stanley Cup, the World Series trophy, NBA championship.
Yeah.
NASCAR is crowning a champion with all their races ran. Though not at Watkins Glen or Sonoma, we had to find places for those and replacements for those, but they ran every race.
Yeah, I agree. I think NASCAR did a great job. I think it was awesome that we got to have like you said, we had to replace some races, but that's okay. You know, we got every single race in, and it was cool to see Darlington be run twice and Charlotte be run twice, so I'll take it. You know, like you said, it sucks that other sports had shortened seasons, but NASCAR did everything that they could to have a full season. Yeah, we didn't get everything that we wanted, like practices, or we didn't get qualifyings, which is unfortunate. Maybe we'll get that back next year, but
in a little more quantity than we did this year. I think the only practice that I remember was the road course at Indianapolis. And I think that's going to be on one of those. But this shortened schedule has been something else. Adaptation for everybody. Kyle Busch blamed it on his winning streak. But now he can't blame that on anything else.
Nope.
He can't blame that anymore because now he shows that he can win. But, man, what great races this weekend. I'm looking forward to Martinsville. Again, check out our pre-race show on the Unhinged Sports Network at 9 a.m. Sunday for everything you need to know getting ready for Martinsville. Hopefully on Sunday and no more of this rain. But you got something for that, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be raining on Sunday. I just checked the weather, so.
But it's 2020. Let's go ahead and just plan for rain.
We'll see. We'll see. If that hurricane moves through fast enough, maybe we'll.
Yeah, now, see, we're already close to the edge. I mean, what, here in 2 days, the trucks are going to go ahead and start racing there.
Yeah, well, the weather looks fine. It just looks a little cool over the weekend, so.
I could deal with cool.
Yeah. There's like 10% chance of rain every day.
And by the way, I forget the year, but it just came to me. The race that got postponed it was a Richmond race, and it was right after Daytona. I forget the year. I think it was in the early 80s, mid 80s. But after the Daytona 500, they go to Richmond, and it wasn't rain; it was snow.
Mm.
And so they did it after a Talladega race, I believe, on Easter weekend.
I mean, hey, we almost had that this past week at Texas. I mean, the temperatures were in the 30s at one point.
Oh, geez, that's miserable. And you got to feel for the fans working or sitting out there. Good on them for staying there.
Yeah.
You got rewarded with a hot pass to the All-Star race, which is awesome. I mean, if you don't call in sick or take vacation for that, you're crazy. Call me. Call us here.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Those.
Holy cow, man. But, man, I mean, NASCAR's done a great job. I'm disappointed to see it come to an end. It feels like it's just blown by once it's got going again. But I'm happy that we're going to Daytona. I'm going to Daytona. I'm trying to bring you along to Daytona.
I'm planning on it.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. I'm planning.
Okay.
I have it far enough in advance, so we'll see.
It's February 14th.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Are we camping?
Yeah, we're camping.
Okay.
Now, we're not going to do it like we did at the Roval and get the RV and stuff unless something happens where I come into a lot of money and then all of a sudden, I could buy an RV.
And then you just have in the marbles on the side of it.
And then I just have in the marbles on the side of it, and that's our official podcast studio. But
Hey, okay.
If anybody's going to do that, you are. Because I've already spent too much money on this.
Well, if I hit the lottery, then you know exactly what's happening.
Great. And might as well just buy me a new truck.
I'll just buy your house for you, too.
Thanks,
pay it
buddy.
off for you, dude.
Take care of you first.
Well, yeah, but you'll be taken care of as well.
Oh, man, you're the best.
I'll buy you a new truck and everything.
Oh, man, couldn't ask for a better friend. Couldn't have asked for a better friend.
And the marbles would be big.
Right. And I'm glad we're with the Unhinged Sports Network. I was just on the teleconference with all of them, and you would have liked it. Chokeslam Wrestling, and I think it was Time to BS Podcast, who's a big sports guy up there in Long Island. We're talking wrestling, and that took over the whole teleconference.
Oh, man.
And I'm sitting there yesterday, and first of all, I learned from a very wise person. It was my dad who said, if you don't know what people are talking about, keep your mouth shut. So needless to say, I didn't say anything from the time the meeting started until I introduced myself and said, I don't know anything about anything because race season's still going on. Give me a couple weeks, and then I'll be into the swing of things. Maybe.
I would have loved to have been there if they were talking about wrestling.
They were talking about wrestling. They were talking about guys I had no idea who they were talking about.
You probably don't even remember the names.
No, I don't. But they were talking about something about SummerSlam.
Oh, that's WWE.
Yeah, it was WWE, but I had no idea what they were talking about, who they were talking about, because they didn't mention Shawn Michaels. They didn't mention Triple H. They didn't mention any of the big names I grew up with.
Yeah, I don't really care for WWE too much anymore.
So, yeah, you should listen to Chokeslam. Oh, man, I forgot the name. It's like Chokeslam Report or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to give it a listen.
But if you like wrestling, that's the place to be.
Yeah.
Because they sped off all these people, and I had no. And 20 minutes later, they said, "Okay, we need to get back on track," and everybody's sitting there listening. And I wanted to chime in and like, well, what about their Stone Cold Steve Austin? What about their Steve Austin? I just didn't understand. And then they started talking about football, and I didn't understand a word they were saying about that. And then they started talking about baseball, and LA might win the World Series today. It's like, I didn't even know there was a game on tonight.
Yeah, I didn't
they just postponed the race, and it's like, I've given up on the day. But man, it's so much fun being a part of them. I could see it going places. They've expanded our viewership a lot, and if you're listening on the Unhinged Sports Network or our podcast platform, we thank you immensely, because it's doing nothing but growing, and the numbers reflect, and it's all because of you guys, and I really do appreciate it. It's a lot of fun bringing you this podcast weekly, and can't wait to see what the next few years bring, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, sure is.
But the Unhinged Sports Network, can't brag about them enough. I always brag about them at the end of the podcast just to promote them a little more and give them more insight, give them more publicity. Make sure to go check them out. If you like I said on last week's tweet, if you're not a podcast person, maybe you're a radio person, they're coming out with an app here in the next few weeks. So all you need to do is download the Unhinged Sports app, and we'll tell you when and where to get it. Hit play, and you can listen to In the Marbles, the Choke Slam wrestling show.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Sports and things. Jim was amazed that you loved sports and things. He thought it was great that you listened to them.
Yeah, I got to listen to them. I enjoyed it.
Far into the bench, everything. It's such a great, unique mixture of shows, and it's only getting better. We're starting to collaborate more, and more news to come out from that here. They want to do this NFL thing where they talk about the NFL kind of like a pregame thing around the horn or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want any part of that. And it's not because I don't support Unhinged Sports Network. It's because they're going to give me a team. And for instance, it's going to be, here's the Saints and the Seahawks playing. It's like, okay, Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, going up against Wilson, another good quarterback. Saints. That would be my preview for it. I couldn't do it, man. It would just be embarrassing for me. Embarrassing. It was like somebody coming in and saying, yeah, Jeff Gordon, how's he running? It's like he retired back in 2015, man. It's just like, it's best to stick in your lane. And I get what they're doing, but don't ask In the Marbles to do it, because I will sound like a fool if I did it. Just telling you straight up.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But Preston, you have anything else before we start wrapping it up here?
Nope, I've got nothing else.
All right. Well, just make sure to go check out Race Day Unhinged every race day at 9 a.m. on the Unhinged Sports Network for all your free race show. This week's show is going to be about Barnesville, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to check out our store, teespring.com/stores with an S and /In the Marbles for all your In the Marbles apparel. I got a hoodie coming. It's going to be nice. Can't wait to wear that. The weather's starting to cool off, as you heard in our ad reads. And remember, until October 31st, Marblehead, 10% off your order. More promos will come. It's the holiday season coming up here. And anything else, Preston? One more time.
Nope, nothing.
All right, buddy. Well, that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in to us this week here at In the Marbles. Make sure to follow In the Marbles on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for the latest and greatest from the world of auto racing. Make sure to check out our show on the Unhinged Sports Network. Race Day Unhinged, every race day, 9 a.m. for the latest and greatest before the green flag drops. For Preston Lude, I'm Matt Beamer. Stay safe and have a good rest of your week.